My friends, hello, how are you all? Sorry to scare you like that, but hey, I had to make an entrance. We had no budget, and that's my entrance for you today. Jamie Davis, back on my YouTube channel. Trying something very different today. I have been thinking about doing a series of film reviews. It could be latest films, it could be old films, but I thought I'd try it out with the last film I went to see in the cinemas, and that was last week, and that was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The fifth installment of the Indiana Jones franchise. Is it the last one? Let's find out. I was excited about this film. I love Indiana Jones. I love everything about it. Apart from the fourth one, but we'll get to that. But Indiana Jones, I grew up watching the trilogy when they were on like BBC at Christmas, and they'd pretty much show them every Christmas. But it didn't matter how many times you'd watch them. You never got tired of it. From Raiders of the Lost Ark to probably my two favourites, which is The Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade. Now, The Last Crusade is probably my favourite Indiana Jones film. When you've got that chemistry of Sean Connery and Harrison Ford, it's a duo and a chemistry you just never thought you needed, but it just worked, and you were convinced they were father and son in real life, especially the whole "Don't call me Junior" every time. Just I love that scene when they announced this fifth film. To be honest, I didn't know what to expect. It's been a title we've been waiting for a long time. I feel I think it was announced a few years ago from George Lucas that, you know, Harrison Ford will at least give himself one more go as Indiana Jones to get out the whip. Whoosh, and of course, get that hat on yet again. I don't really have a hat. All I've got is this England cap. Let's pretend that this is his hat. And of course, whipping Nazis, whipping horses, whipping his dad. Actually, his dad's dead in this one. I was very excited about going to see this film. I just thought it'd give me good memories of when I watched Indiana Jones when growing up. And just was interested to see how Harrison Ford would do in this role. I mean, straight away, the storyline is we have a very old Harrison Ford, an old Indiana Jones, of course. He is pretty much about to retire as, I think it was, a lecturer at a university in New York. I think it was. I should remember that, but I think it was in New York. But he basically is retiring, but then his goddaughter turns up, and that, of course, is played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, taking on Helena Shaw. That's the character she's playing. Now, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, interesting actress. I've never actually seen her in anything before. I know that she was the main star in Fleabag, which was, I believe, was a UK TV series on the BBC. So this was all new to me. Never seen her before. And my word, did she steal the show. We'll probably talk more about her in just a bit, but I thought she was brilliant in this film as the goddaughter. You knew she was a bit of a bitch to Indiana Jones, to be honest, but it worked, and I think she was the star of the film. But like I say, we'll talk more about that in a bit. But we find ourselves with Indiana Jones on his own, has an apartment somewhere in New York. He's still lecturing. He's about to retire, but then of course Nazis come back and chase him, or you could say pro-Nazis that want his head, or after the Dial of Destiny, as of course what is the title of this film. But the start of the film, before we even reach that, we have about 15-20 minutes of that de-aging technology on Harrison Ford, and that it means a younger Indiana Jones we get to witness chasing Nazis down on a train in the wet and wind, cloudy, dark, typical Indiana Jones scene as he's trying to get an item to take to the museum, as he always says. It belongs in a museum. But I must admit, the de-aging thing, now, when I saw it in the trailers, it looked good. It did look good. Most of it did look good in that opening quarter of the film, or opening half, you could say. But the only problem I've got with it is there were definite moments where you could just see it not doing its best, the technology. But I can understand that. There was like a moment when he's running on top of the train and it looked like a video game. And I'm not always a huge fan of CGI. If you can make it look good and make you forget that they're using that technology, you, my friend, have done a very good job. But, as I say, there were moments. But overall, it was good. And it did take you back to, you know, the Harrison Ford in his prime. I did think that maybe, just maybe, you could just make a full film with this technology on Indiana Jones. Maybe this is what could happen in future films. Who knows? We saw it with Carrie Fisher after she passed away. They used a bit of, I think it was de-aging or CGI or whatever, on Carrie Fisher for Princess Leia, but that looked obvious at the time. We kind of, a lot of flaws to that. But this, I think it's improving. It is a big game changer to the world of cinema. But that's the only highlights I've got for this film. When we then go back to the present day of Indiana Jones, I don't know. I just didn't like Harrison Ford, who's 80 years old now, trying to get into car chases. Saw bloody well numbers. God knows how many numbers of car chases in this film, and a lot of you could say kicking bad guys' butt. But really, I just felt like this was an Indiana Jones film too far for me. And I hate to say that because I went to go and see it on the opening night of it coming out last week. I was really excited about it, but to be honest with you, it was a film that just felt like I wish they never went further than The Last Crusade. I mentioned the fourth one. I've still not seen it. I refuse to see it. But yeah, I was happy to skip that one to watch this one and just forget the fourth one. Kind of like Halloween, you know. Halloween, the first film, and then up to the 2018 title of Halloween, where they decided to cut off the storyline between those two films and resume from the opening film back in the 60s, 70s, whenever it came out. 70s, sorry, to Halloween that we had released about 5 years ago. That's how I felt approaching this. I didn't want to think about the fourth one, and I didn't care if there were any references in that fourth one. So I was happy to just see it like that. But the sad thing is, I refused to see the fourth one because of the alien reference. I believe Indiana Jones is in a nuke fridge to avoid the Hiroshima nuclear bomb? I mean, my God, what the hell? I don't get it. That's a terrible storyline if you ask me. And we see a bit of that in this. I won't go on to detail of the ending because I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but the ending was such a ridiculous ending. It just made me think, okay, you've just pushed it over the cliff. This ain't going to work. Again, I won't explain. But the sad reality of this is, I expect this to be the last Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford in it. I don't think we'll actually see the end of Indiana Jones. I wouldn't be surprised if they could maybe do a spin-off like a young Indiana Jones film series like they used to do on the TV shows back in the late 80s, early 90s, I think they did under George Lucas. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of this. Disney, of course, own Indiana Jones, so they're going to flog it like hell. They will do anything to make more money from this series, along with Star Wars, as we're seeing already. So don't be surprised about that. But I really do think that this is Harrison Ford's last film. The ending, though, didn't give me that emotion to go, wow, this is it. You know, no tear in my eye. I didn't leave the cinema thinking, wow, that's it. Again, I might be wrong, but I can't see Harrison Ford doing any more of this. I really can't. And I just think that maybe he did 2 films too far. We'll go into ratings in a bit, but can I just quickly mention Mads Mikkelsen, great actor. He's always good at being a bad guy, and he does it again in this one. He's just a natural at it. They got him right coming into this. And when I saw the casting before I went to see this film, I knew Mads would do a good job, and he did. He was great. There is a scene when he gets hit on the train. You'd think he actually died at the opening of it. Again, I might be going into too much detail, but yeah, that guy's badass. He somehow survived that. But again, he's been a villain of James Bond's in the past, so he knows who he's up against. Phoebe Waller-Bridge just was brilliant. I thought she stole the show. She really did make you kind of get annoyed about her kind of getting in the way of Indiana Jones and creating hurdles for him, because there are times when they're both going for the same thing but they don't agree on the same thing, stuff like that. And actually, when you look at Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, she's kind of got a messed up life. She's kind of, yeah, no wonder she's kind of going to Indiana Jones to kind of help her out. But mainly she's got like debts to sort out, hence why she's kind of getting these historic items to try and make money from and sell it at auction, stuff like that. Again, you'll learn more when you see the film. But I don't know, there was just something about the way she portrayed Helena where it was just... It just really made you feel memorable for her. I feel like she was the most memorable in this film. We do see some old actors or characters in it turning up. We do have Salah turning up in it. We have Marion, his ex-wife or current wife, I can't remember. She turns up. We got Toby Jones in it playing Basil Shaw, who I thought played really well. He's mainly at the start of the film. He's an old friend in the past that we didn't see in the other films. But there you go. I've come up with a ratings idea. It might make sense. It probably won't. But before we go into this, I'll say this now. It was Indiana Jones too many for me. The ending just didn't grab me at all. It didn't make me feel sad that this could be it under Harrison Ford. There's all sorts of things I could say. But I think overall, I'm going to give this a 5 yeses and a 5 no's. So this is a bit of a weird rating. It's kind of like 5 out of 10. But there's 5 yeses to say go see the film, but there's 5 no's to say don't go see this film. So it's at an average point on my ratings. I can't think of 5 yeses or 5 no's right now, but I like to think that doing the halfway, I nearly gave it 4, but I thought because I love Indiana Jones, I'll give it benefit of the doubt and give it 5 yeses and 5 no's. So that is my rating. What did I like about the film? As I said, I liked what we saw from Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I thought she played really well. I thought the casting of Mads Mikkelsen was good. We've also got to remember, the one thing I didn't know until it came to the end credits is the fact that the director of this film is not Steven Spielberg. It is James Mangold. Steven Spielberg has done every Indiana Jones film up until this one. So I'm kind of gutted because I would like to have seen it. But again, he did direct the 4th one and it was shit. So there is that. But I would like to have seen him do it again with Harrison Ford. I'm surprised. I thought Harrison Ford might have only signed up to this as long as he's working with Steven Spielberg. But again, they might have offered him money he can't refuse. Who knows? But yeah, James Mangold, he's known for Logan that he made in 2017, Ford versus Ferrari, The Wolverine in 2013. So, you know, he's done action thriller before. That is it for me. 5 yeses, 5 no's to Indiana Jones. Should you go see this film? If you love Indiana Jones, go see it and just get through it. If you really want to know what happens, you got to go see it. If you're not much of if you're a bit of an average fan of Indiana Jones, I don't think you're going to miss much here. I've not seen much reviews online until I've done this, but what I will say is, Harrison Ford, you did great back in the 80s with this. I wish you just stayed put with that. But if you don't try, you don't know. And at the end of the day, he's making money out of it. But it looks as though the box office of this film isn't actually doing as well as it was supposed to on the opening weekend. I'm going to stop waffling on. Thanks very much for watching. This has been my first ever film review on YouTube. I will, of course, improve this. This will get better, I'm sure, if I keep at it. But yeah, many films to look forward to. I have seen The Flash as well recently. I might do a review on that as well. We do have, of course, Barbie coming out in a few weeks. I'm quite excited about that. Not because I'm Margot Robbie's biggest fan or anything. And also, we got Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan, which should be very exciting. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon.